Imagine with me. I'd like you all to take a long look at that image and try to recall your first experience with the public library. Now, very likely you were a young child, and you were brought to the library by a parent or teacher. Try to recall the smells of the library, the sounds, more likely the silence. Perhaps you heard whispers or pages turning. Visualize the covers of the books. The library is such an exotic place. And even now, as adults, it's one you probably don't visit every day. You know, many of us have a very strong emotional connection to the library. It tugs at our hearts and our souls. But when you think about the library, is that exhilaration that you sense owing to the paper? Or is it the empowerment that you feel surrounded by knowledge? The sense of awe, inspired by remote worlds, real and invented, available to you at your fingertips. Or the awakening of potential that exists beyond what you already know. Well, now I'd like to introduce you to some people that I know. This is Bettina. She's completely blind and she's reading from an iPad. Now imagine her empowerment as she is able to access all the materials in a library instead of being limited to a few Braille books. This is Jennifer. She's incarcerated and she's reading with her sons. Imagine her awakening as she recognizes potential for herself outside of her jail cell. Think of her sons as they see their mother do something to better herself despite her circumstances. This is Connie. She has MS, she's mobility challenged, and she's checking out books. Imagine her sense of freedom as she's able to travel to Fiji from her wheelchair. Now, none of these is an imaginary scenario. All three are very real examples of the life-changing impact of digital libraries. In 2013, Bexar County launched BiblioTech, the first all-digital public library in the United States. BiblioTech capitalizes on technology to change the way that we connect to the library. It provides a solution to engage those residents who would otherwise be disconnected. Now, I know there are some of you who are still back at that first picture, and you're really enjoying your special moment with those stacks of books. But I want you to break away for just a few minutes and consider what digital libraries might mean for you or someone you know. First, begin with a very certain understanding that digital changes absolutely everything. Information accessibility is no longer limited to those who can be physically present at the library. So when you consider the ramifications, absolutely everything you've ever thought about the library turns on its head. The paradigm shift means that the library is no longer the destination. The patron is the destination for information. Digital changes the way the patron interfaces with the library. The technology of the paper book is centuries old. So is our understanding of the way libraries work. So when we shift the landscape from print to digital, we must also alter our understanding of the role of library and librarian. If it's not confined by the physical, the library is no longer the keeper of information. Rather, it's the liberator. No longer the preserver, but the cultivator. So what's a librarian to do without paper books to maintain or floor space to manage? Well, just as the library ceases to be a storehouse, the librarian is freed from the role of custodian. Instead, the librarian is able to take on a much more active role of navigator, assisting the patron with maneuvering information and discerning that which is valuable. Digital also changes the amount of floor space required by a library. In fact, a library needn't take up floor space at all. Maybe the library is more like a handprint on the wall. At BiblioTech, we take full advantage of the space-saving virtues of digital. This owl is our mascot, Tecolote. He's also a QR code. Using augmented reality, a quick scan of this image will take the user to a landing page where they can register for books, browse our collection, and check out materials immediately. Tecolote can be found on everything from bumper stickers to t-shirts to wall stickers. So with that in mind, let's visit the library again. Now, you're registering for a library card and checking out a bestseller on your morning bus commute. Or you're learning a new language while you wait at the tax office. How about being called for jury duty and being able to browse an entire library collection while you wait to be called for a panel? All of this begs the question, if the library doesn't need space, why bother with a building at all? Well, we know that libraries are more than book repositories. In our society, libraries serve an important social function as well. They're learning hubs, they're community centers, they're access points. The library has often been defined as the third space. It's not work, it's not home, but it's a place where people can gather together in an edifying environment. Now, a typical branch library housing 10,000 books will occupy anywhere between 10 and 15,000 square feet of space. Most of that's dedicated to the stacks. Free from the square footage required by paper, BiblioTech is able to perform all of those critical social functions in about 1/3 the amount of space of a traditional library. We can conduct classes, we can host meetings, and we can serve as a technology distribution point, all for anywhere between 2,000 and 4,000 square feet of space. In fact, BiblioTech's scalability has allowed us to establish a public library within 2,100 square feet of space in a San Antonio public housing development. Now picture living on limited means and having all the resources that a public library has to offer, including free Wi-Fi and computers, delivered to you in your own home, essentially in your living room. Because digital can do that. It can fit into corners, it can seep under walls, and it can reach through razor wire, and it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. Change is hard, it's uncomfortable, and it's threatening. I understand, but allow me to help you with that. The technology already exists. It's here, and it can't be stopped. How we choose to use it, however, is entirely within our control. Now, there will always remain a need for paper. And for many, the old technology of the paper book will always be the preferred method of reading. There's nothing wrong with that, and I don't mean to suggest otherwise. But where libraries are concerned, if we resist exploring the full potential of digital, in fact, exploiting its potential, we actively deny the library to those people for whom paper is impractical or inaccessible. People like students in the juvenile detention center, or military service members deployed in Afghanistan, or hospital patients. Christian Zabriskie of Urban Librarians United has written that the greatest threat to the public library is not technology, it's lack of hours. In weak economies, when budgets are constrained and public funding is scarce, efficiency is the watchword. What do we do when the library doors are shut? The digital library isn't the villain in this scenario, it's the hero. In the past, a trip to the library was an event. Today, we have the opportunity to make the library as much a part of your everyday experience as your morning coffee, your commute to work or grocery shopping. No matter where you live, no matter where you go, no matter what your circumstances, the library is available to you. What was once a fixed asset is now a fluid shared resource. Ubiquitous information, that's what digital libraries have to offer, and that's the mission of the public library. Oh, and by the way, please feel free to take the library with you when you leave today. Thank you.